And here we are at Flexr6 with Mr. Tracy Teitelbaum, all the way from Arizona, USA. How you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome.
Good, man.
How
How you
you doing?
doing? I'm good, man. We're just
Love
talking.
hearing from you every day, every month. You know, I read your Facebook posts all the time. You're a good inspiration to everybody out there. That's what we're trying to be, inspirational to everybody out there.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's tough times, 2020, 2021. Nothing's changed. It's probably getting a little worse with the COVID situation, but you know what? We've got to spread the positivity. It's not all doom and gloom. We can still do the things we love to do and keep moving forward.
This is true. The only people we have to answer to is ourselves, and it's up to us to keep the mind right and the body tight and pass it on to everybody. And everything has to be positive. There's too much negativity in the world, so we'll keep it positive all the time, 24/7.
Exactly, man. And speaking of positive, let's talk about your amazing career. And how old are you now, Tracy?
63, going on 64 in April. It's been a very phenomenal career. You know, it's been since with the INBA back at the ABA days since 1983. It's just been nothing but a pleasure knowing the Keikos family and all the athletes that are involved. It's been no regrets, just positive 100% of the way. I've enjoyed my career, and I'm definitely going to enjoy my retirement.
I bet you are, man. And I understand you did the first ever ABA show.
Yeah, in Corona, California. I believe that was back in 1988.
Yep.
And I believe Roland Martinez and Sammy Sisk were in that show with me. It was a very good show. Competition wasn't as tough then as it is now, but with nutrition and supplements and other assisting possibilities, it's come a long ways, and it just gets harder and harder every year. So I figured it was a good time to retire. You know, I'm retiring with a lot of achievements, and I want to go out on top versus like a lot of people in a lot of different sports go out in the middle or on the bottom. I'd rather go out on top, and I feel at peace of mind retiring at this last year's Olympia. It was a phenomenal time. James Spicer gave me a Lifetime Achievement Award, which really touched my heart.
Wow.
The audience applause was phenomenal. It was a real tearjerker. It's something I'll never forget. It was very memorable. Very memorable.
That's amazing, man. And what number show was that for you?
652 or 653, give or take, 1 or 2 shows.
Wow, that's crazy. What year was your first show ever?
I believe it was 1973 or 74, the Hawaiian Islands in Oahu.
Oh man, you
Hawaii.
must have been young, man. You must have been a teenager.
Well, I was a teenager. I've loved the sport ever since. I think I was, I was a teenager.
Yeah, man, that's young.
But I've loved it ever since. You know, the right road for nutrition and bodybuilding has always been in my heart since I was a child, even younger than that. You know.
Yeah, and you are a lifetime natural too, Tracy. We know that.
Most definitely. You know, what got me started really was walking into Gold's Gym and meeting a lot of the memorable bodybuilders of the past, such as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Frank Zane, Robbie Robinson, Ray Metzner, Lou Ferrigno, Serge Nubret, Sergio Oliva, Lee Priest, Leela Brada, Bob Pierce, Rachel McLish, Corey Everson. Wow. There's so many back there, hundreds of people that really inspired me to get going and lifting weights, and I've never looked back. I've never had any serious downtime, thank God, thank the man above, and have just always loved bodybuilding my whole life. And I like the discipline of the nutrition even more so than the bodybuilding, because the nutrition is either going to make you or break you. But I tell people nowadays, nutrition is what keeps everybody's blood work good, keeps you going into your 70s, 80s, and 90s, which we've seen a lot of our legends, you know, throughout the natural bodybuilding career, you know, go and compete in their 80s, you know. So, you know, you just got to keep on going, you know, keep on chugging.
That's right. Yeah. And I understand one of your memorable moments was against Jerry Homer.
Jerry Homer was one of the most complete bodybuilding physiques I've ever seen. He is a totally blind gentleman. He owns a fitness center up in Yuma, Arizona with his son. And this was back in 1995. The gentleman outweighed me, but that day he was just a little bit off. Thank God for myself. And I was able to receive the overall masters for the first time in my life. And it was one of my first place overalls in my life. And when Denny Keikos gave me that huge gold statue, that statue seemed like it was 10 feet tall. It was just such a highlight, one of my better highlights in my bodybuilding career.
Yeah.
And what was really a tearjerker is when Jerry shook my hand on stage and said, you know what, if I had to lose to anybody, I'm glad it was to you, Tracy, because you're a true gentleman. And I felt the same way about Jerry Homer. He is a phenomenal bodybuilder. Anybody that can train with that type of, I don't want to call it a handicap, a disadvantage. My hat is totally off to him. He is a man with a heart of gold and the tenacity of somebody who just made of stone. And he usually is made of stone. Again, he was just a little bit off that night, and they gave me the overall, and I was very blessed about it because, you know, conquering a title like that over somebody who at that time and still is a legend, I was very blessed, and it was a very humbling experience. And the way he took the loss was the way all athletes, when they don't win first place, should be. He was exemplary of the way a true athlete should be. You know, I've seen athletes in all organizations throw trophies on stage, flip off the finger to the judges, and have just such non-professional behavior, whether it's in the amateurs or in the professional ranks. Because you know what? One thing, if you don't conduct yourself right, that panel of judges is never going to forget your ill behavior on stage. That will stick with them the rest of your bodybuilding career. And guess what? They will let you know about it.
Yeah, on the score sheet. Exactly.
Yes, they will.
You're 100% right. And just an extension onto that, Tracy, and this is like new world type stuff with social media. You got to be so careful what you say on social media as well. Because if you...
Yes, I get people on social media that want me to really be outspoken about my opinion in natural bodybuilding. And do I think there's people that are up there using enhancement, performing drugs? And I've been approached by a lot of people lately. And my answer is, you know what? I'm on stage competing as a natural athlete. What anybody else does is their business. And then they try to push it. Well, what do you think about WADA testing, this and that? And I just say, hey, you know what? The INBA is doing the best they can. And, you know, people really are pushing me to say, well, do you think some athletes are squeaking by? I just prefer not to give my opinion. You know, I look at it this way. If you're truly 100% natural and you did the best you could that day, and you did your homework with your periodization training, whatever type of training method you're using, and you did your nutrition right, guess what? You're first place, no matter if they give you a 5th place trophy. And if somebody is up there who didn't play according to the games, you know what? They have to live with themselves. So honestly, my conclusion is a lot of organizations do the best they can, and a lot of athletes walk away disgruntled saying, well, this person I think's doing this and that. It doesn't matter. Do the best you can. Stop worrying about the next athlete, because you know what? It took me over 30 years to realize you're never going to be that next athlete. Be the best you can be. And I tell young people in our sport, you know, you're not going to look like that guy in the gym who's an endomorphic. If you're an ectomorphic, you're not going to look like a mesomorphic physique. You can only be the best you can be, and be proud of who you are. There's too much downgrading in this sport in all organizations, amateur and pro. People would rather tell you about your bad body parts versus praise you for your good body parts. And that's why I think the camaraderie in all organizations need to change for the better. But I must admit, in the INBA, I think the camaraderie excels over any other organization. And I've done 7 organizations, Ken, and I've seen a lot of garbage in a lot of organizations. And I honestly have to say, you know what? Denny and Diana are doing the best they can. And, you know, no testing is foolproof, but you know what? I believe the integrity of the athletes speaks for themselves. And I want to believe that the organization is more clean than any other organization out there. And that's all I have to say on that subject.
Yeah, And I totally agree with everything you just said. That's my train of thought on competing, placing, judging, advice to other competitors, advice to people like Coach and the INBA, PNBA are doing the best they can. As you know, a full proper WADA test is $300 US. That's a lot of money, man. They can't test everybody. So they just,
Of course not.
as many as they can afford to select, and that's who gets tested.
Exactly.
And we just got to run with that. Just think there are some safeguards in place for us all.
Exactly. And you know what? To me, the sport should always have stayed natural. And it's a shame that the public wants to see these freaky people who weigh 300 pounds of the Mr. Olympian all. And I don't condemn these gentlemen, but you know what? At that level, you're risking your health. And as long as they all realize that they could actually pass away the following day and they're taking those chances, more power to the enhanced athletes, whether they're professional, amateur, or even natural. Because you know what? Nobody remembers somebody laying in a hospital bed from pancreatitis or liver disease. All they remember is the people who win that year. And we've had a lot of good people in all organizations pass away due to steroids, and you would think it would wake society up. But to this day, people still want to see bigger, better, freakier athletes. Even when I compete in untested organizations, the middleweights, the heavyweights, they still look at a bantamweight. And honestly, I never got much respect from the heavier weight bodybuilders. And that just tells me, you know what? That's where the mentality is. But you know what? I know who I am. And as long as each athlete knows what their own identity is, never let anybody rain on your parade. Never let anybody take away your self-esteem, because you have to be your own motivation, no matter who you are. So I surround myself with positive people. The negative people are not in my circle. They don't have something nice to say. See you later.
That's fantastic. Great advice, Tracy, and totally agree 100%. Now, I understand Lonnie Teeper wrote an article about you in Ironman magazine once.
Yeah, he was at the Phoenix, Arizona show, and it was a stacked class, and I was the tallest bantamweight at 5'9" to ever win the Arizona bantamweight. And to this day, I believe 20, 30 years later, that height standard still stands, that I'm still the tallest bantamweight to ever win the 143 weight class. I came in, I was very lean, very symmetrical. There were a couple of 19, 20-year-old kids in there that didn't like somebody who could be their father beat them. But, I'm used to people, a couple people kind of walked off stage, not even congratulating me, but, sore losers are sore losers. I came in prepared. And it was great that I was in the magazine, because I always thought of myself as, when I get in the magazines, it's something that my children and my grandchildren can be proud of. I've always been a very humble bodybuilder. To me, being in 10 magazines, 100 magazines, it doesn't matter. To me, it's about leaving memories for my children, in the long run, of my grandchildren.
That's awesome.
I was going to be in another magazine last year or 2 years ago at the Pittsburgh Masters, but all the magazines went online, and the NPC News, I hate to say about another organization, news went online, and I only knew about it a week before, because originally I won the bantamweights in that competition, a non-drug tested event. And I was so happy, but I was told by the promoter that a week before that, the NPC deleted their hard copy magazine, so it would only be online. So it kind of broke my heart, but you know what? You move on. I'm always proud of winning first or fifth place. It doesn't matter. But, when I can be good enough to win in an untested event, I have to be proud of it, because it shows people in natural organizations, which I cherish, the INBA, that even if you're natural, you can still beat out the drug people. And I've done it many, many times in Phoenix, Arizona, with the NPC. But a couple of years ago, I decided to dedicate my heart and soul only to the INBA. Mr. Kakos and I had a long talk, and I agreed with him, and saying, hey, you're such a good natural athlete. You just need to stay with the natural organizations. So I gave him that promise, and then I got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And, it's a great family. I know a lot of promoters, and there's nobody out there that puts their heart and soul into it like they do. what they pulled off this last Olympia was amazing. And, you know, Diana Keikos, when she took the microphone and said, when I was retiring, and James Spicer gave me that Lifetime Achievement Award, and she goes, you know, I said, I love the organization. And she took the microphone and said, I love you too, Tracy. It was a tearjerker, you know. Yeah. There's a lot of athletes over the years I've become very close with in our organization. And I wouldn't trade those athletes' friendship for the world, you know. I think our most exemplary Olympia athlete will always be in my heart, Philip Ricardo. He is a true athlete. He's humble. He believes in the man above, which isn't the biggest point. What I'm trying to make is he just exemplifies. Anytime you text him, Facebook him, he always calls back people, whether you're a first place winner or just, I hate to say, somebody on the bottom of the chain. He treats everybody the same. You know, there's been so many people that I cherish their friendship with. And this last Olympia bodybuilding show, you know, Adrian, Sammy, Brandon Lario, James Spicer, Roland Martinez, Brandon Stewart, Kiyoshi Moody. Had a great talk with him. Brian Eden, you know, he was there getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. What that man has accomplished and overcome. Brian Eden, he's in a league of his own. The amount of surgeries he's had is phenomenal. You know, bless his heart. You know, even if he never comes back, he's put so much heart and soul into that INBA. God bless him. You know, Monica Steiner, Karen, and Andy Wellstead. It's just been a beautiful, this Olympia, I really got close with a lot of athletes, and it was a good time for me to call it a career. I'm leaving with so many great memories, many great memories. I would never trade them, you know, at all.
Amazing. And what does the future hold, Tracy? I understand you got a book coming out.
I need to get off my tush on that and write the book. Well, finish writing it, Life Behind Gym Walls. Right now, what's taking up a lot of my time, honestly, is I'm doing my master's certification with ISSA, and possibly going to be assisting with Ed DiLorenzo and his son. They're hopefully going to be achieving their lifetime dreams of opening up a gym. So I'm looking forward to working with Ed DiLorenzo and his son, and James Spicer. You know, James Spicer is by far one of my closest friends. You know, we get together every week and train and stuff, and it's just been a very, very good time. You know.
Yeah, that's good, man.
The future is, to be honest, I'm one of these people, you know, I've been doing this for 47 years, like we talked before we got on air, and people flip out because I have that Dexter Jackson mentality. I'm going to stay within 5 to 7 pounds of show weight because, you know, being a personal trainer, you know, as well as I do, staying in shape can only do one thing, bring me more clientele, because at my age, when people see me at 3, 4, 5% body fat, it inspires these people to want to get in better shape, even if they never get down to under 20% body fat and they're at 30% body fat. At least I can help them achieve short-term goals. Yeah. And my lifetime dream is to just work with a lot of baby boomers and 60 and 70-year-old people and show them, you know what, it's never too late to put on some type of muscle mass, whether it's going to be appreciable in your 60s and 70s, like your 30s and 40s, of course not. But anything is better than just sitting around. You have to keep your body moving. And, you know, with the elderly, I do a lot of resistance band training. And, you know, I do whatever, you know, there's no cookie cutter program out there. Everybody's an individual, and you have to curtail the weight training program to each individual need, depending, you know, what their own illnesses are. You know, whether they have osteoporosis, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's disease, Down syndrome. You know, every program will help anybody, no matter what their disadvantage is. And I feel I am very qualified as a trainer for 47 years and being able to help anybody and everybody out there. The key to a great trainer is a great personality, great knowledge, and great patience.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. Communication's the key for everything in life, but especially when you're training people. As you know, my goal with people is to improve their physical and mental health, even if it's just a tiny little bit or it's a lot. As long as they see improvement, that's a win for me and for them. And totally agree, man. Like, everybody's different. And I understand there's two very special people that live right there with you in your house that you'd want to mention.
Oh, my wife, Olga, she is the most phenomenal woman I ever met. I met her at a Planet Fitness 6 years ago, as a matter of fact, coming up on 6 years very soon. And I just knew it was love at first sight. And it's been love at first sight every single day. It's just every day seems like a wedding day to myself. We've never argued. I mean, when Kieran and Andy Wallstead did an interview with us, they couldn't believe how tight we are with each other as far as best friends and, you know, husband and wife and lovers and everything that goes along with a what I consider near perfect marriage. You know, I'm very blessed, and I'm raising her son from a previous marriage, David. He's going to be 8 years old next Saturday. We're having a big party for him, a DJ.
Cool, man. Cool.
And close friends are coming over. James Spicer, especially. It's been, there's nothing in my life I would change. There's nothing in my life I would take back. I'm very blessed because a lot of people say, I wish I could change this or that. You know, I tell people, even if you have bad skeletons in your closet, just look out for today and pray for tomorrow, because there's nothing you can change about your past. You know,
Yeah.
Just be the best you can be every day, and just treat people the way you want to be treated. But I do want to point out, you did mention something very, very true. Mental frame of mind is the most important thing with any client, even before you start physically training them. They have to want to have small goals and long-term goals. And you're right, very few trainers like yourself get into that. And like myself, another trainer I do think does that a lot is Adrian Pedro. I'm very impressed with his training techniques and all. Derek Stockton. You know, there's only a handful of very good trainers out there that really want to get into people's hearts versus just getting into their checkbook. I hate to say that, but I would honestly, it's less than 20% in my honest opinion, if I actually had to put a percentage on it. Yeah. But at least we're in that 20%. So, you know, we should all be proud of what we do. You know, I wake up at 3:30 every morning with my first client. She comes to the house, we do in-house training. And I have a lot of online clients out of New York. You know, it took me a long time when coronavirus came to do online training, because I'm so old school. I like to be hands-on, and it took a while to really watch people's techniques with resistance bands and, you know, free weight body squats to have the camera angled right to make sure their foot stance is correct. Yeah. But I've gotten used to it. So it's better than the alternative. I'd rather them have training with myself or somebody like yourself versus watching so many terrible, I hate to say, YouTube videos. Some of them should be on World's Funniest Home Videos, because some of these alleged trainers out there are really doing some very injury prone exercises, in my opinion. But, you know, social media, a lot of people start questioning even some of my own techniques. And I tell them, you know, if you're going to question my techniques, go back to YouTube, because you know what? You have to believe in your trainer and what he's doing for you. Because if you do not have that 100% belief in myself as your trainer, honestly, I dismiss clients because there's too much, hundreds and hundreds of videos. So what it does is it confuses the person out there. I had a gentleman today say, Tracy, what do you mean the incline press hammer strength doesn't work my lower pecs? I was told it does. I said, no, the decline hammer strength works your lower pecs, and it depends upon the seat position. And he was using a reverse grip position on the incline. I said, all you're going to do from that is end up with carpal tunnel syndrome, because your brachioradialis muscles and your prolongus muscles aren't supposed to be in that unnatural position doing an incline bench press. Yeah. He goes, well, I saw it on YouTube. And I'm like, well, you know what? YouTube is wrong. Whoever the trainer told you that is flat out wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Came back a couple of minutes later and tried my technique. He goes, wow, I never felt my pecs, my lower pecs, like you just showed me. Thank you very much. And he's now going to actually become a client starting next week. So awesome. People need to take YouTube videos with a grain of salt, because there's hundreds of videos out there and they all contradict each other. That's what's really sad.
Yeah. And you know what, Tracy, the old school techniques still work. The old school training, it's worked for 150 years. It still works. You know, the odd new machine comes in, which is good, but it's not many. A lot of the new stuff that's coming today is not effective. It's dangerous. And I'll give an example of those booty machines. Like the girls are putting a barbell across their back, and now they've got a machine that does it, and they're loading it up with like 200 kilos, and you've got like a 50-kilo girl, or you know, a 100-pound girl with,
I see it all the time,
400 pounds on there, and I'm going, what? That's crazy stuff. Your body's not designed.
It is crazy stuff. It is crazy stuff. What people don't understand, society's gotten lazy even in the gym, because you know what? Compound movements will always rule over isolation movements. Unless you're prepping for a show, you know what? I tell people, you better get your, you know what, and master compound movements, and do it for more than 3 weeks before you start doing isolation movements and start worrying about the eccentric being 4 seconds down. Learn your compound movements, because it's like a house. If you don't have a strong foundation, you're never going to have the density that it takes to be a successful bodybuilder or even a classic physique competitor. You know, you got to start with basics. And you're right, they've been around 150 years. And you're right, you see people on all these machines loading them up, especially the hammer strength equipment, and they don't realize how much they're shorting their range of motion and letting the machine control them, versus compound movements. You have to control the movement.
Yeah.
100% agree with you on that, Ken.
Exactly. All right, Tracy, we're coming to the end of the interview. Any final words for our viewers?
Just be the best you can be in the gym. Remember, there's no such thing as skipping days, whether it's 10 minutes in the gym or an hour and a half in the gym. Have a goal and never let anybody let you deviate from the goal, because you know what? I have a client today who she keeps getting deviated from family members saying, oh, come on, one bite won't kill you. She's morbidly obese and one bite will kill her. And you know what? You have to take charge of your own, like you said, your own brain, your own heart and your soul, and be the best you can be. And I just surround yourself with positive vibes. If people are negative in your life, I hate to say, drop them like a bad heart attack, because there's nothing beneficial about people like that. It's like if you watch Grant Cardone, he'll show you how to become a millionaire over the person who's holding a sign up at the corner saying, hey, I'm homeless, can you please help? You know, if you want to be successful in any sport or any employment, hang around people who have been there and done that. You know, don't ask a rookie for bodybuilding advice. Come to people, I hate to say it, people your age, my age, James Spicer, Roland Martinez, we've been around the block. We know what works. Yeah. We've been champions in many divisions. With age comes wisdom. And I hate to say it, all these young trainers that are doing dumbbell curls on a bocce ball, I'm sorry, you know what? I'm doing a master certification. Nothing will work better than being on a hard surface, you know, and even this master certification from ISSA says doing things on an unstable surface, it's a bunch of BS. Go back to old school, read about Arnold's Encyclopedia of Old School Bodybuilding, get knowledgeable, stop watching the latest YouTube fluff stuff, and get back to basics. Build your basic foundation first for, in my opinion, a couple of years before you even think about bodybuilding in a competitive atmosphere, you know. Don't worry about getting chiseled, worry about getting the mass movements down, you know, get your bench down, get your deadlifts down, get your squats down, get your military shoulder presses down, and do everything with free weights, because nothing's going to develop your body like dumbbells and barbells. Cold hard truth.
Yeah, 100% agree, Tracy. All right, man, that was fantastic. Good interview.
Thank you. It's always good to see you, and keep doing what you do best. You're doing a phenomenal job. I love being on radio with you, or even talking on the phone. It's always a blast, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future. Stay safe over there, and just stay safe.
Yeah, man. You too. Thank you, Tracy, for your time. See you, man.
All right. Bye-bye.